So you want a thematic look for your ghost that's easier than angering someone on Twitter? Well, then you're in luck, because this paint scheme is Game Journalist Easy Mode, cost effective, and aesthetically pleasing. Let's start with an affordable shopping list that won't give your wife a reason to kill you. You'll need only 5 Citadel paints, 2 or 3 brushes at most, and PVA glue. Yes, all but the glue can be found at a Warhammer store, because this is literally the recipe for the first army I ever made. You'll also need base material of your choice. I use Morden Earth and this cheap color shift paint for mine. And of course, you'll need cotton balls for the mist. I prime my ghost with Corax White. Look, I was nuts back then too. Crazy is my brand for a reason. But you can prime it with whatever white makes you comfortable. You'll also need a spray paint similar to GW's Nihilek Oxide. The original I used is this Rust-Oleum, but it's become harder to find and rather pricey. Any greenish cyan spray paint should do the trick. Finally, the only real hard item is Green Stuff World's Leaf Scatter, but you can try and find alternatives out there. This is the optional step, but it does wonders giving them a sense of movement. Now a quick jab at the elephant in the room. You can airbrush the primer and base coat to speed things along. Do it if you have one, but this guide is supposed to be budget and noob friendly. Don't worry if you don't. To save yourself time, you can paint the base in effect as you're priming your mini. You need a flat but fluffy sheet, so stretch it obnoxiously like a lot of clickbait YouTubers' videos. Use some tape to hold it to a disposable backer. Spray paint one side with the Nihilek like the greenish cyan spray paint. Then when it's dry, you can flip it over and hit the other side. Gently waft the spray paint on. Seriously, it comes out way better, unless you want it looking like a teen boy's towel. Now the fun part. Base coat with Nihilek Oxide. Straight from the pot. It's already pretty thin, so you'll probably need 2 or 3 coats. Feel free to be messy. Step 2. Finish the rest of the ghost. For the gradient, picture the ghost's face as a light source. This will dictate how I applied the rest of the layers to follow. Use Drakenhof Nightshade on the furthest reaches from the face. Try and make the line between the base coat and shade uneven. But of course, nothing on this scheme has to be perfect. Now we dry brush the whole model with Blue Horror. Be fairly light around the shaded part. Then dry brush heavier as you move up. This will help bring the model together. Now, locate the face, make eye contact, assert that dominance, then dry brush heavily around the face and everything nearby. When done, you should have 3 noticeable layers. Now finish it with pure white right on the face and everything in the immediate surroundings. See? Faster than the Flash on 3 barrels of coffee. Or at least it could be, because that's pretty damn fast. Now some of you might want to paint details like the swords and bling, but that's your call. I prefer my ghosts fully intangible, because I imagine it's annoying when they slip through walls only for their rusty stabber to get stopped by the bouncer. Your victims won't be very scared when your ghosts are trying to push through a pull door. Apply the basin of your choice because the effect attaches to that. If you're doing my basin, apply a thick layer of color shift and let it dry. Then apply the Morden Earth on top. Make sure that's thick too, like Kingdom Death thick. Yep, more dry times. After your base is ready, start pinching finger-sized chunks off that cotton sheet you prepared earlier. The spray paint makes it more rigid, and pulling it apart reveals some unpainted strands. Fold them like tacos and you got a nice puff of atmosphere. Glue a bunch of them to the base around the model. Make sure the wispiness follows a pattern so it doesn't look like you just slapped it on. Which, to be fair, you did. You could stop here and it'll still look fine, but if you got those Green Stuff World leaves or alternatives, tap some glue dots on the cotton and base, then make it rain. Make it thicker along the base. Less is more on the fog. You want to make it look like they're blowing. Now it really looks like it's pushing through the environment on its way to steal your girl. I mean take souls for Nagash. Isn't that the same thing? Here's some final notes. It does look neat as a lone model, but this was always designed to look good as a group and are very easy to paint to army size. Very batch friendly. Obviously, they're also a bit more fragile thanks to the effect, and more finicky. Expect more clinging in a bad high school relationship. Not the greatest for mass battles, but hey, maybe you can spice up that D&D encounter or a diorama. Thanks for stopping by. Have a f***ing awesome day, and I'll see you next time.